Greetings, happy Thursday. So I have a Lenovo computer here today. You'll see it's very similar to the Dell Optiplex. I've been trying to just start this series of YouTube things by breaking down computers and trying to identify them for you. My thought behind it would be, as you start your e-scrapping adventures, it's a good idea to know what's in a computer before you go buy a pallet full of them like I just did and wind up with very little value for yourself. I've more than made up for it the past 2 days, so I've really gotten some really great computers and so it really kind of washed out. I did get out to the new yard today. It's a non-ferrous yard in Meriden, and it wasn't horrible. We got 10 cents a pound for the CD-ROM drives. There's no weight on those anyway. And then the hard drives without boards, we got 15 cents a pound. I had 80 pounds of those. What surprised me was the cheap, lousy, garbagey spaghetti wire. They paid me 55 cents a pound. That was really a surprise. But their company is called Cable Management, and they actually are a non-ferrous yard. Not even really a yard, they're a materials handling company. You go into this giant warehouse, there's lots of scales, and very, very professional. I mean, I'd give them a shout out anytime. They're really nice, very easy to work with, and for those kind of things, it was good. What I wound up doing is I did take the boards off the hard drives, and I sold them as, I sold these as hard drives without boards. I used to just chuck them into Shred, but Shred is paying like some ridiculously insulting number. The last thing for Shred I got was 280 pounds at $85 a gross ton. Got me $11 for 280 pounds of light iron. So, obviously I'm going to do better yard hopping, I guess. It wasn't really a bad drive, and it felt good to get out of the house. It's been so cold. So this is a Lenovo ThinkPad, Windows 7 and iCore 5. So I already took the chip out, and it was an iCore 5 indeed. And Board Sort will buy those. They have a test and buy program. You basically send the chip to them. You choose from their sales menu that you'd like to send that. You process your sales request, and then if the chip is tested properly, it will be purchased and they will pay you. They use either PayPal or check. It really has been in my best interest to send the boards to Board Sort for processing. They really do pay the best. Rockaway, which is in New York, the iScrap app, that guy Tom, he owns that place. That's about an hour and a half from me, and their prices also are quite competitive. But I've got to have such a big load to go do something like that. If I do that, I wind up with a big mess in the house, and I really don't want that either. So I think it's going to be just continue doing what I've been doing, sending boards to Board Sort, and just taking the other materials to the non-ferrous yard. That's just the best option for me now. All right, into the computer. So these came from a school. Lenovo is your typical workstation computer. I already took the heat sink off. This is the same as the others we've been doing. You're going to cut this little C-clip. This spring will pop out. You'll be able to take this off the board. The discussion about extruded aluminum continues. The guy today says it has to do with thickness. He said these are too thin to be considered extruded aluminum. So that's yet another opinion on the aluminum heatsink. But at least he gave me something that resembled a logical answer. I'll I'll say that. It was very professional too. They were very nice there. It turned out his wife is a piano teacher, and she has worked for a mutual friend of mine in the area. That's always a nice way to start off a relationship with a new yard. Now, these... There's a blue tab here. Usually with both the Lenovos and the Dell, there are little blue tabs to push, pull, that usually will allow you to get at the material. This should just pull out, but I had trouble with the last one I took apart too. I wasn't able to get it out of its caddy. What happens is sometimes these get tossed around. Like I met the fellow at the transfer station that had already been banged around all over his truck, plus handled at the school, plus everything else. So sometimes things that are supposed to work just don't. These usually screw in, and I haven't quite figured out how to get this out of here. I don't see any screws, and it doesn't want to move. So I'm going to do the same thing I did with the other one like this, which is I put it aside. I just Godzilla'd it off. I'm pretty sure this is the release for it over here, but you know, I'm not going to sit here and fight with it for 45 minutes. Usually there's a screw here. Usually unscrew it. It usually slides right out of the case. I mean, I'd like to get the board out of this. So I'm going to have to get back to you on that one. And I've been doing this for 5 years, believe it or not. And I can't believe I've been doing that this long. I started doing computer scrap. I started out of curiosity, really. I had young nephews who really were into gaming computers and game systems, and I got interested in gaming computers, and I also got interested in electronic music. There's a lot of really cool things you can do with music and electronics and stuff. So really, it started for me with electronic music. I wish the phone hadn't have jumped out on me last night, but it did. I just put in the new Apple upgrade, and it like wiped out any memory that was on the phone. Apple does it, you know, they want you to go buy a new phone. So, with me now doing YouTube, I'm either going to have to buy a new phone, which I really don't want to do, or get a GoPro. Haven't worked that part out yet, folks, but I will. I deleted as much stuff as I possibly could. And the phone is paid for, it works perfectly well. I really don't want to go spend $1,000 on another phone. You'd rather go spend a couple of $100 and get a GoPro or get a dedicated camera, you know, video camera of some type. Anyway, these aren't really too bad to take apart. They're really awfully similar to the Dell Optiplex. It's going to be that same small metal socket green motherboard. I've got I sent 20 pounds of those off to board sort this morning, along with a lot of other stuff. See, for me, I mean, it's nice to get a nice fat paycheck when you turn it in all at once. I don't have that luxury anymore. I don't have a yard to work with. So, ship it out to board sort, get it checked every day or every other day, and I don't get a big mess all over my house. It's really, it's not horrible. And you know, they pay pretty well. If there was someplace closer to take it, I probably would, but that ship has sailed, as they say. That's just what works for me. You know, there's a lot of people who have a yard that buys electronic scrap. The place in Meriden does buy it. They just don't pay as well. Even with including the shipping, it's... if I don't need the money right away, why not send it where I'm going to get paid better? I just have to wait longer for my check. I've already taken the wires off the power supply. I gotta unscrew it in the back. I gotta unscrew the screws that are back here. I'm trying to be more careful about keeping stuff in the field of view here. So we got some Goldfinger Bram. You need about 50 of these to make a pound. There's no weight on them at all. I'm going to nip these guys off. I do like the clean aluminum. I can sell aluminum at my local yard. I think he pays 40 cents a pound. It's not too bad. Like everything else, you just have to have enough of it to make it worth the trip. I can also sell this wire at that yard too. He pays 40 cents a pound for it. So, but he doesn't buy, he'll buy these and he'll buy the other things, but he'll buy them as shred. And right now, light iron is a joke. It's almost, I'm waiting for them to get to the point where they're going to charge us to dump it. It is up a little bit, but a long way to go. I feel really sorry for the guys who are scrappers. A lot of them, they're handicapped, they're disabled, they're older, and they're working like maniacs trying to make a living, or just trying to get some extra funds. They count on scrapping, and you know, they have to work twice as hard for half of the pay. What are you gonna do? I'm really not big on the scrapping front. I have been giving some consideration to opening a haul-away business, junk removal. Because here in town, here in my hometown of Stratford, they've gone to these Kavunza bins. And people do not like the Kavunza bins. So I think there might be some work for that. And again, I'm just looking to utilize my office space better because we don't have any business in the morning, so why not put a business there in the morning? But I'm thinking about it. I don't know. I'm supposed to be retiring. Ha ha ha. Push this down. This should just push through. Again, sometimes things just they get bent because they've been handled rough. So this will sell to cable management, power supply, no wires. There is some argument for taking this apart and taking the copper and the aluminum. Screw that. Not me, not today. That leaves the board. When you do these Lenovos, there's well, this one doesn't have it, but the other one I just took apart and did. The ThinkPads have an extra part that comes out and the board hooks under it, so you wind up with a board like this. See this extra part? There's screws on the outside. You have to unscrew an extra plate. This is the board that came out of the Lenovo ThinkPad. So when you do Lenovos, there's extra screws and an extra metal piece in the front on the ThinkPads. This is just a regular Lenovo computer. This is not the small form, but it's a basic desktop. talking about Lenovo computers the other day. We were talking about them when I was doing those Dell Optiplexes. And once you take one apart, yeah, they're all very similar. After you've taken a few thousand apart, well, then you can do it in your sleep. But I like to show a lot of different computers once I get those done, and I've got a good sampling up there for you. Again, you know, I think it's good for you, for all of us, especially if you're new to this, to know what you're going to get yourself into if you just start scrapping computers. I will tell you though, it's getting harder and harder to find e-scrap. Precious metal has gone way up, and it's getting really hard to find e-scrap. I'm lucky I have a lot of schools that I work with because of the music business, which is why I also think the haul-away service will work too. I'm gonna have an empire. Okay. Small metal socket, green motherboard. And join its friends right over there. I'm gonna button that one up, and I think I'm going to button up that video too. So this was a Lenovo with a Windows 7 and an iCore 5. Alright, see you in the next one. Ciao.